Yep, so my name is Renai Edwards Malayil, not Andrea Goodwin. She unfortunately was not feeling well today, and so I stepped in last night and agreed to come in and do her PowerPoint. So please understand that I got this thing at 9 o'clock last night, and so it may not be the best presentation you've ever seen, but I'll try hard. All right. So today, and unfortunately it's going to cause me to look at the screen a few times as well. So today we're talking about who's most impacted by HIV in Southeast Michigan, where in Southeast Michigan is the heaviest burden of HIV, what SEMHAC does to help people living with HIV, and I'll refer to that as PLWH throughout the presentation, and how you can help to ensure quality of care for people living with HIV. All right. So by the end of 2016 in Michigan, so this is just for the year, there were a little over 500 new cases of HIV and a little over 10,000 people living in the state with HIV. And the number has stayed fairly stable. It had gone down significantly from previous years, so this number is not surprising for any of us that work in the field. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so who was really the most affected? When we look at the people who are living with HIV and the people who are newly diagnosed, you're going to see that many of the new cases are young folks, very young, and that particularly young black men are the most affected. And then if you look even further and start separating the data out, you'll find that young black gay and bisexual men and other same-gender loving men have really the highest risk. And just yesterday, I saw a presentation where, unfortunately, the rates for young black men who have sex with men are going up. For everyone else, if you separate everyone else out of that, the numbers are going down all over Michigan. All over Michigan, going up for that population and going down for every other population. And so, as a person who's working in public health, you know, we're going, how are we completely failing this group of people? Something is still amiss. Like we've made improvements. The rates are going down for HIV, right? But still, we're not doing everything we need to for this particular group of people, obviously. And some of that data is not out yet. This is a new thing that they just kind of parsed out, trying to understand what's really going on. And you can see that here. So if we looked at the prevalence in the Detroit metropolitan area, and this is an abbreviation, the DEMA is something that is a term that we use using HRSA, our funder for Ryan White. That's a word they like to use. So Detroit eligible metropolitan area. So these are the folks who live within Wayne County, Detroit, Macomb, Oakland, Monroe, and Lapeer and St. Clair, right? So those are the folks that are included. So this is not all of the state of Michigan. This is just Southeast Michigan in those particular counties and the city of Detroit. So just looking at this, you know, the person who created this is Jennifer Miller. She's an epidemiologist at the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. And so there are you can see the little gender signs on there. So you're seeing that that is referring to gay and bisexual and transgender persons. There's one little transgender person on here that is right here, and then the darker color is just to make it simple to understand that you know, people who are African American really have a disproportionate burden of HIV in our area, and that males in particular, and then same gender loving males also are really disproportionately affected, as I previously mentioned. Okay. So like I said, these are the counties that are in our metropolitan area, and when you look most closely, really it is Detroit and the counties most closely surrounding it that have had been most affected by HIV. In Detroit, most significantly. And while there's about 10,000 cases in the whole state, I think there's a little over 6 people living with HIV in Detroit alone. Okay, so now that you know that, what else is there to do? It is time to understand what the needs of people living with HIV. We at SEMHAC have created a 5-year plan, so this is something that we do under our funding. All of the people who are members of SEMHAC come and they make the decisions of what that comprehensive plan is going to be based on data, epidemiology, information we've received from people who are receiving Ryan White services, and the members of SEMHAC who are also a lot of people who are clients of Ryan White providers and other agencies that serve people living with HIV. And so this is who makes the decisions for everything in the way that money's going to get spent. It's not something that somebody at a health department makes up. It's not something that just a few people on a board make up. It's really a community coming together to make the decision of exactly, precisely down to the dollars, how that money will be used and spent to, according to the needs of people we talk to. And so that's not just medicine, it's all the supportive services. In case anyone's not familiar with Ryan White, there's a lot of different services like housing, food, mental health. There's medical case management and non-medical case management to help make sure that people get through their processes and have everything they need to be able to stay healthy. And so, like I said, who does that? It's SEMHAC. It's SEMHAC who makes all of those decisions as a large board and an always growing board. Yeah. So, had any of you here heard of SEMHAC before? No. So SEMHAC, right, is the Southeast Michigan HIV/AIDS Council. And I think I've got ahead of myself since I am trying not to just stare at this thing and talk. But there's meetings every month. So SEMHAC operates like this. It's something that goes on year long. They have monthly meetings where everybody on the council comes together. Then there are a lot of smaller committees that have very specific tasks to do. They do things like needs assessment, where they'll do focus groups or surveys, trying to understand, again, like when we feel like we're failing young, gay, black men, we try to get together and talk with those folks to figure out what it is that we're missing. What are we missing? So that we can make changes in the way services are provided. There's another group that just does community activities. That group is called People Who Care. And actually, you can go to the next one, I think, because I'm getting into those details. I'll go back to that. One more. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. There is another group that is in charge of trying to coordinate prevention services and care services. There's a group that's all in charge of finance, so they make sure that every bit of finance and the way money is spent is actually going the way that it was set in the plan. Again, to make sure that nothing's deviating from that plan and that the right services are being provided. Then there's ad hoc groups that do a lot of different things. Sometimes it's fun things. It might just be a committee to have a nice celebration dinner to celebrate all the work that we've done all year, and other ones who are working on training activities and things like that. Okay, so there is, and so just to explain a little further as well about SEMHAC, so what happens is the city of Detroit receives the funding for this whole Detroit metropolitan area as discussed. And then they have staff who are in charge of certain things, but again, it's the planning council who tells them what to do. And so they're separate but together. And this serves the whole metropolitan area. Even though it comes into the city of Detroit, it is for the whole area. Okay, I think that's that. These are the committees I mentioned, and just in writing so you can see some of them. It looks like some have gone amiss on here for some reason. All members are required to participate in at least one committee. And again, the whole idea, just that I really need to emphasize here, is that we want people on these committees that can really help us understand what's going on. Right now, I will say, as an older person on the committee, most of us are older, and we know we're missing something with young people. Why? Because we're old and we don't know what's going on. We sort of might think we have the idea, but without having more young people on board to really go like, no, you guys are totally missing it, and here's why, this, and this, right? And so with that said, I hope that you guys hearing some of this stuff today will drive some interest in maybe even talking about other people to be involved. Oh, yeah. I don't know. That wasn't planned. Go ahead. All right. So, we look at some of the different people that are involved in these committees. There's people who are shy. There's people who like to stand out. But again, the main thing is that people come and they share their opinion and they direct the services. Go ahead, Clarence. Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't know it did that. Okay. So, if you love caring for people, right, many of you, I think, are going into the medical field or you're working in health-related degrees, this is a place where you can really have an effect, right to the ground level, right to where people are needing someone who's taking interest in their best interest and not just coming out of nowhere. Go ahead. I don't know what she was going to say for this. It's hard work, I guess. I guess that's why she has the little ant carrying the cookies. It is hard work. It's no joke. It's not just fun and games. We do have to spend a good amount of time on all the efforts that we make. All right. All right, so the point is SEMHAC needs you. All right, and like I said, I'm sorry I'm a little out of order with this. So I hope that you'll take it to heart, consider it for the future. You can go to the SEMHAC webpage. If you go to the final page, the address is on there. On here, there's a digital application, and so people will apply. You get a little interview, and then they're appointed eventually by the mayor, as long as the council approves that person to be a member. So while I may not have been that exciting of a speaker today, I hope that the idea excites you, and you can go to SEMHAC and apply, or just learn what's going on. Check it out. There's all kinds of information. There's meeting minutes and details about all the different things that the program participates in. So, any questions? It's not a particular focus. One, like I said, there's many people on the council that are well aware of that. There's a few specific groups that are dedicated. There's one that's called SAGE, and there may be some others too, and I know that that's their focus. And there's members from that group that are on our council, so they keep us informed and make sure we're staying on top of it. But because it's the new diagnoses that are mostly among very young people, that has us really focused on them, only again with really, missing having young people on the board to direct exactly what we're doing, and that's probably why, we're not hitting the target with that. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you for your patience as I worked through this thing and tried not to just stare at the board. All right. Thanks.